What's up, you guys? Let's talk about Kailyn Lowry and her literal obsession with Chris Lopez. I honestly feel like he might need to consider filing a restraining order against her, as obsessed as she is with him. Remember, Chris doesn't even claim that he's ever dated Kail a day in his life. And here she is constantly talking about how in love she is or was with him, to the point where, like, a couple months back, maybe a month and a half ago, she was talking about even potentially petitioning him, like asking him to give her sperm for another child, which is weird considering her what is that called? Smear campaign against him, where she was claiming he was a deadbeat, ain't shit, all of that. He's an Instagram parent. Now here you are begging for me to, like, jack off in a cup for you. Like, which is it, homegirl? Anyway, now Miss Betty is claiming in, like, a blog or something like that, that Chris was her one true love and heartbreak, which is quite pathetic considering the fact that this chick was full-blown married for like 4 years, and this guy who treats you like a jump op is the first heartbreak and real love you ever had. Like, what the hell did you marry Javi for? Anyway, before we really dig into it, let's go back and talk about what she said in her blog. So there was a question about, like, when she had to learn to overcome obstacles and all of that, and she wrote, "When I think about everything I've been through, two things instantly come to mind. First was moving on from living with Joe and his family and into an apartment alone with Isaac. The whole struggle of no longer being a family and understanding my feelings that went into all of those decisions was really tough. I really struggled with the realization that the entire situation I was in, including my relationship with Joe, was not meant for me. I was so thankful that Joe's family was there for me, but Joe and I weren't meant for each other. Of course, even though I knew this, it was still hard to see him moving on. We were 18 years old with a child together, and I really didn't know how to understand what I was feeling or properly cope with it." Which, you know, explains her vile, like, intense hatred of V. Remember, she called V a hood rat for no reason. She claimed that she was a bad influence to have around Isaac. She used to constantly, like, fight with Joe over it. I believe at a certain point she got physical with Joe over V being around Isaac. Like, she was obsessed with V. There was a certain point too when they were doing a reunion special, and she was trying to force Dr. Drew to agree that V was like a terrible hood rat, drug addicted person who shouldn't be around Isaac. And Dr. Drew was like, "No, bitch, you're being delusional." And she got up and walked away. Like, it was intense, y'all. And then when it comes to answering the question of what is one of the toughest times that you've ever had in your life, Kail says that it was being alone for her pregnancy, which she claimed was, like, planned as like a sperm donor sort of thing and not an actual relationship. So it doesn't make sense why this woman felt alone anyway. I mean, you literally told us that a doctor told you that you just had a couple months left or like a year or two left. Like, your chances of getting pregnant were, like, really diminishing, and it was now or never to have your next kid. And so that was the purpose of your pregnancy. Like, nowhere in that sentence does anyone assume, hey, like, maybe she wants to be in a relationship with the guy who got her pregnant. It sounded like one of those, like, sperm bank things, except with someone that you know. So her feeling lonely during that time only proves that she was lying about the whole entire situation and what went down between them for her to end up pregnant in the first place. Anyway, let's quote old girl when she says, and I quote, "I was feeling so incredibly alone during my pregnancy with Lux and being physically alone a lot of the time. I believe Lux's dad was my first true love. I know, weird, when I had 2 kids with 2 other people, but this is my life. This was my first real heartbreak where I loved someone and was in love with someone, and I felt so abandoned during such a vulnerable time." Kail, it's not just no, you've got 2 other baby daddies. It's no, girl, what is you doing? You were married for like 4 years with one of them. Like, how is this your first true love? Why would you get married to someone you weren't even in love with? And, like, does this mean you're gonna finally stop pretending that you didn't marry Poppy just for military benefits? At this point, I feel like this girl has no one in her, like, circle who is her real friend, because a real friend would tell her to just stop talking, because she's making herself look worse and worse and, like, more stalkerish and desperate and bitter and just, like, crazy and delusional with every single interview that she gives. This guy does not even breathe life into your name on Twitter or, like, social media, like, anymore. Like, he did once, like, he had a break where he, like, subtweeted her and, like, all that stuff. But he pays you dust, and you just can't seem to stop talking about him. Hey, it's just, stop, girl, please. I'm not even your friend, but in this moment, I'm being a better friend to you than your real life friends are. Just stop talking about Chris. Stop. Just, yeah. Zip it. You guys, what do you think about Kail's really bizarre statements about Chris being the first true love of her life, despite the fact that he doesn't even claim her as an ex-girlfriend or anything of the sort? Leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more. Feel free to share it with your friends as well, and follow me across social media where I absolutely love chatting with you. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.